It's Tuesday, the 7th of June, 2022. Welcome to the Fast Five by Fear and Greed, where we give you the top 5 business stories you need to know in just 5 minutes. I'm Michael Thompson, and joining us this morning from Orange in the New South Wales Central West, good morning, Sean Aylmer.
Good morning, Michael.
Sean, 5 stories to get through in 5 minutes. Let's jump into it. Story 1. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese wants Australian super funds to consider investing in Indonesia. Now, this is all part of his push to deepen ties between Australia and our most populous neighbour.
Yes, Mr. Albanese said his current visit to Indonesia is the beginning of a sustained campaign to seize opportunities in that country. He also launched a $200 million partnership on climate and infrastructure projects and said the CEOs with him in Jakarta, and that includes the bosses of Wesfarmers, Commonwealth Bank and Telstra, will be the vanguard of greater collaboration. More than 270 million people live on our doorstep. It's a country that's industrialising, and while we export some things, services mostly, like education, there's a potential to export much more, like commodities. The two countries signed a comprehensive economic agreement in March 2019 and came into force a year later, then COVID hit. Now, Australia has not always been sensitive to cultural differences, and that's hampered our relationship somewhat. Yesterday, Mr. Albanese said his government would hold regular meetings with the Indonesian officials. Mr. Albanese certainly got on well with his counterpart Joko Widodo, and that is a great start in bilateral relationships.
Yeah, it certainly is. Story number 2, Sean, the number of job ads rose slightly last month, close to their record levels, which means that pressure is going to continue on wages.
That's right, and that's really important. For interest rates, of course, the Reserve Bank Board is meeting this morning. The consensus seems to be an increase in rates of between 25 and 40 basis points. Now, back to the ANZ job ad series, it rose slightly last month. The 238,000 positions available. What it shows is that there's plenty of unmet demand for labour. There's plenty of jobs out there. And unlike the UK and US, there are still fewer job vacancies in Australia than unemployed people. That's actually a good thing. But with an unemployment rate of 3.9% and still limited migration, pressure will come on employers to boost wages to attract staff.
Okay, story number 3. This is an interesting one, Sean. The Victorian government is pushing people to buy newer cars and trade in vehicles that are more than 10 years old.
Yes, new data shows 2/3 of drivers and passengers killed on Victorian roads last year were travelling in vehicles aged more than 10 years, according to the state's Transport Accident Commission. The age of the average vehicle on Victoria's road is around 10 years. Roads Minister Ben Carroll said the state government was pushing to reduce this average age as part of its strategy to halve road deaths and significantly reduce serious injuries by 2030. He said when buying a car, drivers should look for auto emergency braking, lane keep assist, blind spot monitoring, electronic stability control, and front side and curtain airbags.
All right, story number 4. We've spoken a fair bit, Sean, about the return to the office and really the fact that it's only kind of happening to a limited extent at the moment. ANZ boss Shane Elliott yesterday said he thought return to the office had peaked.
That's right. 1 in 5 of ANZ's 28,000 staff haven't been back into the office since March. Separate data from the Property Council of Australia shows that while office occupancy across capital cities ranges from around 36% in Melbourne to 51% in Brisbane, on Fridays and Mondays, it's closer to 20%. Now, Mr. Elliott has good reason to wonder if people will ever come back 5 days a week. The Victorian Chamber of Commerce and Industry canvassed small, medium and large businesses. It found that only 19% of employees are working in the office 5 days a week and 14% have not returned since restrictions were lifted.
Okay, last one, story number 5. Sean, Elvis mania is growing ahead of the release of the biopic Elvis, due for release on June 24, and it seems people are cashing in.
That's right. The film got a 12-minute standing ovation at Cannes, and the Elvis business is booming. Las Vegas chapels are going great guns, according to media reports. In fact, there's no cease and desist orders being sent to them anymore. Travel sites are ramping up deals to visit Graceland and Memphis, including behind-the-scene tours and rides in vintage Cadillacs. Graceland, of course, is where Elvis lived. My favourite, though, Michael, is a Swiss-made Ebel wristwatch, which includes a 14-carat yellow gold jagged wristband, once worn by Elvis before he gave it away to a backing band member. According to Bloomberg, it's up for sale for $495,000.
Sounds like a bargain. All right, there we go. The top 5 business stories in 5 minutes. Thank you, Sean.
Thank you, Michael.
It's Tuesday, the 7th of June, 2022. Remember to hit follow on the podcast. And if 5 minutes isn't long enough for you, you can find our longer daily show called Fear and Greed on your podcast platform. I'm Michael Thompson, and that was the Fast Five by Fear and Greed. Have a great day.